Welcome to the pre-match pint with London Pride. We're here at the London Pride Brewery shop and tap room in Chiswick Lane in Chiswick. Get yourself down here, Bees fans, as you can get yourself 10% discount. I'm delighted to say, joining me this week again is the Ambassador Marcus Gayle and Jonathan Douglas. How are you both? Cheers to you both. Right, got to be looking forward ahead to the Norwich game, but look, I don't know where we stand. I don't think I'm allowed to talk about too much about the Josh incident at the weekend and the Newcastle game, and I'm glad because it got me angry. We've had a little discussion about it off camera. We've got some disagreeing points of view, but I think we'll leave it there. I think it's obvious where I stand on it. So we're going to leave that there and look forward to Norwich, but there is something that was obviously huge when the teams came out on Saturday from the Newcastle game. We see, looking at the players there, looked like a change in system, and obviously from kick-off, clearly there was a change in system. 4 at the back straight away, Marcus. What were your initial thoughts when you saw that team line up?
I thought it would suit playing against Newcastle with Wood, straight through the middle, and Ethan and Pontus can take care of that. I don't think there's any point in using 3 centre-halves against the 1 striker. I think the change of system would have helped us. It just would have been even better if we had the full complement of the team out there. Having 11 men out there, so it weren't to be.
It's a difficult one because obviously with the Josh incident, which I'm not going to get into because it gets me angry. Is it a tricky one here, Jonathan, because we didn't get to maybe see how well we played with the formation because we basically didn't get to use it really. So do you just try and go again with it against Norwich?
I don't know if you could probably try again against Norwich. It's a different team. Norwich obviously play a different way. So I'm sure, Thomas Frank has been working on it, last week and this week. I'm sure they've had in-house games as well where he's worked in probably the 2 sort of formations, probably playing against where he thinks how Norwich is going to play in. He'll probably just weigh up what personnel he has, available to him. Because I think with the 4 at the back could work, with the 3 it has worked for them, in previous seasons and start of this year as well. And it's just unfortunate, as you say, that Josh got sent off so early on because I think Brentford started the game okay as well, so it was unfortunate.
Yeah, and with Josh, his role on the day was kind of wide right, Marcus. Where do you see his role then for us when he does come back from the suspension? Do you think it will be out there or more central where we've seen him traditionally and where he probably favours more?
I could see him starting more games out there, and that's based on with Christian Eriksen available to play as well. I think you obviously want Christian in the middle to dictate things, but what an outlet Josh is for him as well. When you look at Josh's game, all the best parts of it, or most of it, is coming from that right-hand side where he cuts in, take the shots. He can go on the outside because no one believes that he can go on the outside, well, especially the opposition, but he does that really well. So I can see the benefits of him starting more on the right-hand side.
But then what do you lose, Jonathan, from having him out there that you would get when he's in the middle?
I'd probably slightly disagree with Marcus. I prefer him in the middle.
That's what I like. That's why
I just think that he's, he can get the ball, he can carry, he can drive. I know he can do that out in the right, but I just think with his pace, his power, he's great in the ball as well. And I just think him and Norsgaard, if they played as a 2 with maybe Christian just in front playing on a 10, it'd be in my opinion, that's what I'd go anyway.
Playing against someone like Josh,
I'm glad I'm not. So I rate him very highly. I think for the last 2 or 3 years, I think he's been my favourite player for Brentford anyway. Really? So I just think he makes the game look so easy. He's come in. I think he's got his attitude off the pitch right. He works really, really hard. I speak to Chris Haslett, he speaks highly of him. Obviously Sam Saunders as well. So I think once you work hard off the field, when you're on the field, it's makes the game a lot easier.
And when he's playing centrally, we know that he can drift into those positions that you talked about, Marcus. When you're a centre midfielder then, Jonathan, is that just a nightmare because you're getting... Do you just pass him on or do you have to kind of go with him? Do you see what I mean? Because
99% of the time I'd be passing him on, even if he is beside me, I'd still be trying to pass him on. I just rate him very high. I just think he's a great player and hopefully he'll be around for Brentford for a long, long time.
He's one of those players that can play anywhere. He's that good technically. He can go anywhere on the pitch.
Well, he's played up front before as well, hasn't he?
So it just shows you how talented the kid is.
Yeah, and you kind of touched on it there about maybe you would play maybe 2 6s and stuff. this was a 4-3-3, we're thinking it kind of was, but these days, is it more of a kind of fluid thing? Is it more systems and formations? And could we maybe even see a 4-2-3-1 here and kind of almost... It's kind of what Norwich did against us last year. They had Skip, and I forget who it was, maybe McLean, just in front of the back two, and it was just this solid base that they had. Fullbacks tucked in nicely, but then could also go, and they could go because of this kind of block of four in the middle. Is that something that we can maybe implement? Because I think Vitali's great in a 6 when he's got the game in front of him. So is this where it is a bit of a dilemma? Because you could go Vita and Christian, and then give the 4 freedom up front to interchange Josh, Christian, could be Wissa or Brian or Ivan in those 4 roles as more of a 4-2-3-1, Marcus.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I think with the personnel, it could be perfect in that scenario because you're getting your best players out on the pitch at the same time in the rightful positions. That can cause trouble because at the moment you can't expect our back 4 or back 5 to defend for 90 minutes. We've done that well at times, but we've still lost the game. But that's just based on we haven't given the opposition enough to think about in their sort of defensive half.
Yeah, and a huge thing again. We are looking forward, but this is linked, obviously, looking forward, was Christian Eriksen coming on, an incredible moment. We saw the Newcastle fans give him a standing ovation as well. The first time he kind of went to warm up, it just lifted everyone as well. What did you make of his comeback?
You know, it's what is expected. You know, I mean, he's not going to come in and start pulling up trees and stuff. It's going to obviously take time. He's been out of the game for a long time. I know he's been back in training, and you know he's been playing friendlies, but you know, friendlies compared to Premier League is miles away. So it's still going to take him time. I thought myself, we spoke last week, I thought he might have started and played 60 minutes or something, but as you say, the crowd whenever he came on was great, and I think it's not just Brentford fans that are willing them to do well. I think it's the world of football really. Yeah,
I thought when he came on and when Ivan came on, visibly you saw a change straight away. Newcastle on the back foot a bit. There was a few times Ivan with the header against Shah in the air, and it was almost that aggression was back. We were on the front foot again that we'd seen at the start of the season. You said it just then about you thought Christian should have started at the weekend. Are we saying now, Saturday, you've got to be starting Ivan and Christian if you can get them starting?
If they're obviously fully fit and Thomas Franks sees that, and the fitness guys think that it's worth the risk to start them. I think why not? You need to get, as Marcus said, you need to get the best players on the pitch. I think if Christian does play, it might stop Ivan from dropping a little bit too deep to try and get on it. I think the games that Brentford have done really well this year, against Liverpool at home and Chelsea, he's bullied the centre halves, and I think the more you can get him up, occupying the 2 centre halves, the better that, the more space that Eriksen will have, and more space the midfield will have, and he'll get more chances.
And on that, because we saw, especially in this fixture at the start of the season, okay, I thought actually Norwich were brilliant that day, and they surprised me, to be fair, and obviously they beat us, but Ivan was winning a lot in the air, and it looks like Gibson will play again. I imagine Hanley will come in this time instead. But obviously that day it was him and Brian as a partnership, and again at the start of the season we saw it a lot. They would play quite close together, but Brian was always on the shoulder, playing off Ivan's flick-ons and little balls around the corner. When you change to this 3, does that change things, Marcus? Or have you got double the options running past Ivan? And then on the other flip side is, if you've got Josh there, does Josh do that like Wissa and Brian would? So how do you play it? Do you go with Wissa and Brian? I know we can't use Josh at the weekend.
You've got the players to do that. You've got the options. Tony's going to win the ball. He's going to win the ball. You just got to figure out with some intelligence where that ball is going to drop. And 9 times out of 10, he's going to win it, and it's going to drop just behind those centre halves into a bit of space. We've seen Brian do that all season, getting onto things, making it very difficult for defenders to get hold of the ball. He steals the ball from them, and we're on the attack. So I think it helps Ivan a lot more when you've got probably 2 other players that are thinking of going in behind when he's on the ball.
So would you, because obviously the traditional thing to do in this, with a 3 like this is, especially in the modern game, they drift in. Could you, with Ivan's aerial ability and his link-up play, just say, don't drift in, almost play Brian on the left and Wissa on the right, and just run in behind constantly, and then you've got Eriksen or whoever in the 10 in front. Do you see what I mean? Like
you don't want to isolate your centre forward anyway. He wants people around him, whether he's going to bring the ball into play and touch things around the corner or put it around his defender into space. You just want the options, and I think those boys, they're well equipped to do that.
Right, come on then. Let's look at Norwich. Dean Smith has come in there. Difficult job. I'll be honest, obviously the last game we played against them, it was a surprise that Farke had kind of left, obviously, because he got his first win against us. What have you made of the job Dean Smith's done there since he's come in?
I was very surprised that he took the job in the first place. I just thought, personally, I thought that he maybe rushed back into it, and it was a difficult job. It's proven out to be, a difficult job as well. He's, I think, in the middle of his tenure, has picked up a little bit. He got a few wins and started I think they actually got out of the relegation for a while, but a couple of defeats have got them back in it again. Everybody knows he's a good manager. What he did for Brentford and even Walsall before that. So it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a tight game. I'm sure he's going into the game thinking that it's a game that they need to win as well to have any chance of getting out and to pull Brentford a little bit closer. So it's going to be a tight affair, I think.
I think you made a good point there. We'll be looking at this and obviously going, right, Norwich is an opportunity, but we can't be too proud. They'll probably be looking at the same and going at the run that we're on and going, this is an opportunity for us to pull ourselves back, and it's also taking points off a team here. You said you think it'll be a tight game. Obviously, when Dean Smith was here, we could be pretty attacking, but we quite often would ship a few goals. Marcus, do you think that's somewhere that maybe we can exploit here?
Again, it's going to be an open game.
So you think tight game going open? I like this. I
think it's going to be open because Dean Smith wants to attack. He wants points.
But do you think, again, playing devil's advocate here, for them is it almost a do not lose as well? So does he have to play it a bit safer? Because if they do lose, because of the points they're on, not because of anything else, it would cost them more to lose. Do you see what I mean? How do you play it if you're them?
I think both teams are going to go into it as a not lose game.
Right.
You don't want to be coming out of this game with a loss. So that's going to affect the sort of performances, the sort of dynamics of the game. But I still feel it's going to be open. Both teams have to go for it. You can't just sit back and expect to pick up points. You have to get on the front foot, have to show some positive intent, and I believe we can win that.
But would you go a bit more direct in this game? Would you go a bit more cup tie, kind of?
Oh, it all depends who's out there.
Right.
What we've seen when Ivan comes on, he changes the dynamics very quickly. He's physical, he's aerial. He makes people concentrate on him and focus on him.
And two will double, wouldn't they? You saw it in the home game. Quite often they were both.
Yeah. So that has an impact. When he's not playing, then we've got to change our style. We've got to get it into the feet of those quicker players in there and try and turn people around the corner. But again, it's just whoever's out there, they know what they need to do. And we've got the players to do it. When I see the squad at training, I'm like, wow, this is an awesome squad. Yeah. Everyone's fit, everyone's chomping at the bit to get in that starting lineup, and just got to do a collective job.
It's a big week in the bigger picture as well. A big couple of weeks, obviously we've got Burnley on the horizon. Norwich play Leeds next week as well, so a lot will kind of be mapped out from this. But another big thing is schedules. We saw Burnley playing last night. This is recorded on a Wednesday. Tonight, again on a Wednesday, Norwich go to Anfield. We've said it before, you want points on the board rather than games in the bank. But is there another element of schedule-wise? It's going to be tougher for the likes of Norwich. They're going to get back from Anfield potentially really late tonight, less time to prep, whereas we've had the whole week to prep for this game, Jonathan.
Yeah, it's definitely an advantage. I'm a Liverpool fan, so hopefully you go to Liverpool and get a good spanking. But as you said, it's not the easiest place to get to Norwich anyway. So when they're coming back from Anfield, God knows what time. But it is disruption, and as you say, Thomas Frank has a whole week to prepare his formation and personnel and how he's going to go about it and stuff. And I'm sure Dean Smith, those managers are looking 2 or 3 games ahead anyway, so he'll know what's available for him after tonight. I just think it's going to be a tight game this weekend, and as you say, it's a massive couple of weeks coming up for all the clubs down in and around the relegation battle. And I'd say in the next 2 or 3 games we'll know where Brentford are and where Norwich and stuff are as well.
I think sometimes with the schedules, I think with us it could have an adverse effect as well because we've got the whole week, whereas we lost at the weekend. And the first thing you want to do, you want to like train and play again, and we haven't got that with our schedule, so that may impact us. But at the same time, if we keep it positive, we've got more time to prepare. So
there's arguments for both, I guess. Look, it's an exciting end of the season, but there's also another big game before we do wrap up here. Marcus, you're going to the game on Sunday. Brentford Women against London Benfica. And for those of you who haven't got your tickets, so you can register your interest online. It's going to be a good day though, isn't it, mate?
Hopefully we'll break the record attendance. I think it's around 400. I think there's over 1,000 people that have registered to come. So hopefully we can get a good amount of those turning up. I'll be there for sure. Don't know what you're doing. What are you doing?
I'll be there. Yeah.
You sure?
Hopefully, yeah.
Oh.
You put me on the spot a bit
No
there,
pressure.
didn't you? You put me on the spot there. I did have plans, but I'll, move them now. Thanks for that. Now, of course, get down and support the girls. I'll be doing my best to get down there with Marcus. We'll put the details below on how you can register. Like Marcus says, over 1,000 of you have done so already. And also, get yourself down here for your 10% off at the brewery. It's unbelievable when we have a little good afternoon after this, maybe. Right, that is it for this week. Big game at the weekend against Norwich. Thanks again, Jonathan and Marcus, for joining me. Get down in the comments below and tell us what you think of Saturday's game. And also remember to like, share and subscribe. You Reds!